Hey guys, it's Justin from Carnivore Loco, and today we've got something special. Today it is special for me to be cooking this ribeye because this ribeye was gifted to me by my father and my stepmother for my anniversary as well as my birthday. So you're probably asking yourself, what's so special about this ribeye? Well, these ribeyes were gifted to me out of the blue for my anniversary and for my birthday that's coming up. And today, I don't know what day it is. It's a special day. It marks, I don't know, well over a year and a half of carnivore for me, and that's what makes me Carnivore Loco. Today I'm down exactly 107 pounds from what my highest weight was, and coming up on 1,000 days of sobriety as well from alcohol. The only thing I'm still doing, because I'm not one of those guys that's gonna lie to you about things in order to get clout, is that I still enjoy nicotine. Well, shame on me, right? Anyhow, aside from the nicotine problem that I've got going on, you solve the issues that are gonna kill you first. Firstly, the alcohol was going to be the thing that killed me, so I had to eliminate that. Then, of course, I went ketogenic, and I realized shortly after I went ketogenic that I didn't need things like starches, sugars, or any of those other carbohydrates in my life. So I decided to change things up a little bit. What did I change? Well, I went full carnivore. So basically the only thing I eat really is meat. Chicken, I don't really care for. Fish, I love if it's fresh and sushi grade. Of course, we've got beef. We've got a side of beef in the fridge. So things like that really help out, with cost. Not doing market retail stuff, that's important as well. And of course, I like pork, and I did hear something special about one of my dad's famous pork shoulders coming over here in a couple days. So today I'm going to be cooking the ribeye. This ribeye is provided to me by my father. I call him Papa Two Guns online, and you might be able to find a few things out there from Papa Two Guns. Maybe something Lego related, I'm not sure. However, today, Carnivore Loco, me, Justin, I'm gonna be cooking a ribeye. This thing weighs in probably about 1.75 pounds, if I had to guess. I thought maybe there was gonna be a weight on the ticket, but he didn't want me to know how much he spent on these steaks. So, Double R Ranch beef, put out by Agra Beef here in Idaho. It looks like a very nice steak. I went ahead and I seasoned it ahead of schedule, and I put a little sea salt on there. Kosher sea salt, something that I like to put on my steaks, and then of course I let them rest prior to putting them on. So today what I decided to do with this ribeye cook-off slash taste test anniversary birthday celebration is use this very, very dirty and infamous grill. I haven't named it yet. I think I might call it Coley because it doesn't use coals. It is a propane-powered Coleman travel grill. Now, if anybody is familiar with these Coleman travel grills, you can see they've got cast iron grates. And these are nice because they clean up pretty easily. So every time I cook with this, of course, before I cook, I clean out the inside. I make sure I remove any grease so we don't have fires. And then I like to burn it off. So that way we can get a nice white hot grill and get a nice solid char on this. I simply decided that I love cooking with charcoal. I love cooking with smoker grills, pellets, the amazing tubes, things like that. But one of the things that, for out of convenience, if you're cooking one steak or you're cooking a 6 to 10 Wagyu burgers, something that you want to do is you want to do it quick. You want to do it hot, you want to do it fast, you don't want to be waiting all day. Unless you're cooking something long-term, like a 22-pound packer or something like that, maybe even a pork shoulder, or some of you call it a pork butt, depends upon where you're coming from. However, today we're only doing a ribeye, so I'm pulling out the propane and we're actually going to get to this and make sure it's super quick. So relative to the grill, you can see the size of this ribeye. You see the nice white fat cap on it. A little thin on the sides, a little bit less than what I'm used to, as far as our pasture-raised beef that we get. I did season it down with some kosher sea salt on both sides, and we like to let these things sit, not come to full room temperature, but as you can see, the salt is actually starting to change the color of the meat already. So we know that this thing's ready to go, so we better get our grill ready to go as well. Okay, so here we are. We're getting the grill heated up. Late last night, one of the things that we did is we threw Wagyu burger patties on the grill. So I'm gonna burn this off, and I'm gonna hope that that Wagyu fat stays on the grill. We're gonna remember that the steak sits just on top of those planks that are inside of the cast iron griddle, so to speak. And so anything that's below it, it will burn off. We're gonna clear that off, but we're gonna make sure that our grill's real seasoned so that way this bad boy gets a nice crispy edge and a nice cook on the inside. And for our temperature, today we're gonna be using the meter stick. The meter stick is nice. I use the meter plus. This is a nice device that you guys can purchase online at Meter Stick or meter.com. You can pick these things up. They work with Wi-Fi. Some have short range, some have longer range. That's why you want to check out the Meter Plus. It's affordable and it saves you when you're doing one steak or whether you're doing a big rib roast. It's very important that you take time to make sure that your temperature is correct, so that way you don't spoil this meat, this precious, precious meat that everybody's looking for. So as you can see right here in the ribeye, I decided to put the meter stick inside of the corner edge of the cap of the ribeye internally into the largest portion of meat that you have here. This is going to be your leanest part, of course, so that's going to give us an accurate temperature. But the meter stick probe, you want to slide it in as far as possible, and of course about midway through the steak. That way you have perfect temperature on the steak when you flip it from one side to the next. Let's check in. Okay, so as you can see, we're getting ready to throw the ribeye on. The ribeye is probed, everything's ready to roll, and we've had our good burn off period. As you can tell, the left side of the grill is extremely hot compared to the right side of the grill. That's intentional. We're gonna go direct on the left side to sear in, and then we're gonna go flip one time, and then we're gonna move it indirect on a lower temperature, so that way we can get our cook and our temp up a little bit more slowly, and that way our fat melts together with our protein correctly. Okay, we're getting ready to throw this ribeye on. The grill is nice and hot. I've got my target temp set to 133 degrees. I like my steak medium rare. We're gonna make sure we throw this bad boy on as fast as possible. And we're gonna get that sear on one side, check the temp, flip over one time, sear on the other side, and then move it in direct. Okay, here we go. This is the part everybody loves the most, the sizzle. I like to move my probe more towards the center of the grill because it's going to be less on the heat from outside exposure and keep it more internally. That way we get an accurate temperature. Okay, as you can see, the meter stick is telling me that I got about 5 minutes left on my temp. My temp's about halfway internally. We're going to lift this up real quick and check one side. And we're going to do a flip. Ooh. There we go, that looks pretty dang good to me. We're gonna give the side a nice sear, and then we're gonna move it over indirect. Okay, update. We've got an internal temperature right now running about 90 degrees, an ambient temp of about 315, and then we have an internal that we're shooting for of 133, which is where I pull it off. I might pull it off at 130 and then let it rest for about 7 to 8 minutes because that looks like that's going to be our total cook time. I like to rest as long as I cook. I think that that makes for a very juicy steak, and I think you guys are going to be happy with what we see. Okay, we're about 100 internal, and we've gone on our last flip. This is our last flip, side number 2 for the ribeye on an indirect. As you can see, we still have lots of hot heat over here for convection effect when we close the lid. But on this side, we're slowly raising the internal temp before we pull it off. It's time. We hit 123 internal, 420 ambient. We're gonna pull this off, let it continue to rise while it rests, hitting our 130, 133 mark. We're gonna leave the probe in just to check, but this is the most exciting part of the entire thing, and I am excited for this anniversary birthday ribeye. Thank you, Papa Two Guns. Here we go. All right, so here's our end result. We pulled the ribeye off the grill. We let it rest for 5 minutes. The temp ended up coming up inside on a cold plate as high as 140. So it's time to break into this because I'm hoping I didn't overcook this. I want to prove that the indirect method of cooking on propane actually works, and you can do it hot and fast on one side and then lower the temp and move it to the other side. You have yourself a beautiful ribeye in less than 10 minutes. Here we go. All right, so for the reveal, I decided to bring in one of my big knives, and we're gonna be doing the taste test today on the R Ranch ribeye. I estimate the weight that was about a 1 3/4 pound weight. We had 2 of those. We didn't need 2 of those. So here we go. We're gonna cut into it for you. I'm gonna go with center first, okay? So as you can see, lots of juices came out during the resting period, and we're gonna do a nice slice right through the center, just so we can get an actual view of where we're at. And it looks like we went a little bit more on the medium side. So while I like more rare typically, I think this is gonna be a good steak. Let's get a good bite. The steak looks a little lean for my liking. Typically I like fattier meat. However, I think we're gonna give it a go. Here we go. So, as you can see, we're a nice medium right now. Adding the salt before, letting it rest, let that temp from the fridge come down, get more acclimated to the outside temp that it's going to be going into. I think that's the key. One of the things that I like to do when I have a fresh hot steak like this is, you see the au jus, right? You got this plate full of juices. I like to take a little bit of my horseradish. Now, you can't say I'm 100% carnivore if I'm eating some plant-based. However, I've adapted to it. So I take a little bit of that cream-based horseradish and I mix it in with the au jus that we have here on the plate. And it just gives you that nice prime rib juiciness. So guys, big thanks to Papa Two Guns and Grammy Nurse Jen for hooking us up with this ribeye today for my birthday and my anniversary. I'm glad that I had an awesome video back into Carnivore Loco. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Maybe you learned a little bit, maybe you didn't. If you have anything, put it in the comments section. Make sure you subscribe. And until next time, as they like to say in the business, that's how the cookie crumbles. In this case, that's how the cow moves. Yes, sweetie, now you unpause it.